In graph theory, a regular graph is a graph in which each vertex has the same degree. If the degree is k, then we describe the graph as k-regular. So I have 6 examples of graphs right here. Let's go through each one and determine if it is a regular graph or not. So let's consider graph number 1 right here. In this graph, we want to determine, does every vertex in the graph have the same degree? Now, as a reminder, the degree of a vertex is simply the number of edges that are incident to that vertex, or in other words, the number of edges that are connected to that vertex. So if we consider this vertex right here, we can see that there are 2 edges that are incident to it. So let's go ahead and label this with a degree of 2. Now if we move on to this vertex, we can see this one also has 2 edges that are incident to it. So let's label that as degree 2. And this last vertex, we can see it also has 2 edges that are incident to it. So we'll also label this one with a degree of 2. Now we can see that all 3 vertices in this graph have the exact same degree. They all have a degree of 2. So this graph is a regular graph, and we would describe it as 2 regular. So we'll say 2 regular for that one. All right, now let's move on to number 2 right here. So to determine if this graph is a regular graph, let's just find the degree of each vertex. So if we start with this vertex, we can see that there are 1, 2, 3 edges that are incident to it. So this vertex has a degree of 3. Now if we move to this inner vertex right here, we can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 edges that are incident to this vertex. So this vertex has a degree of 4. So we can stop right there because we can see right away all of these vertices are not going to have the same degree. So for this graph, we would say it is not regular. All right, let's check out example number 3. So to determine if this is a regular graph, we need to find the degree of each vertex. So if we consider this vertex, we can see it has a degree of 2. There are 2 edges connected to it. And if we consider this vertex, we can see it also has 2 edges that are connected to it. And this vertex also has 2 edges connected to it. And this last vertex also has 2 edges that are connected to it. So each of the vertices in this graph have a degree of 2. So we would say this is a 2 regular graph. All right, now let's check out example number 4. So to determine if this is a regular graph, let's determine the degree of each vertex. So if we start with this vertex right here, we can see that it has 1, 2 edges that are connected to it. So it has a degree of 2. Now if we consider this vertex, we can see it has 1, 2, 3 edges that are connected to it. So it has a degree of 3. So we can see right away all of these vertices are not going to have the same degree, so this is not a regular graph. All right, now let's check out example number 5. Let's determine if this graph is a regular graph or not. So if we consider this first vertex, we can see it has a degree of 1, 2, 3. So 3 edges are connected to it. And if we move to this vertex, we can find that it has a degree of 1, 2, 3. And if we just move around to these last 2 edges, we'll find that they also have a degree of 3. So this is a regular graph because each of the vertices has the same degree. And we would call this one 3 regular, since the degree of each vertex is 3. And then let's consider this last example here. Let's determine if this graph is regular. So if you find the degree of each of the 6 vertices in this graph, you find that each of them has a degree of 3. So because all of the vertices have the same degree, we would say that this one is also 3 regular. So those were just a few quick examples of how to determine if a graph is regular or not.